Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Real Live Sessions, episode number 15. We are almost done with this season. This is a very special episode. You know, if you've been watching this season, we do 4 episodes of music, and then every 5th episode, we do a recap of the last 4 artists or bands that have been on. And man, this group we had was an absolutely exceptional group of entertainers and musicians. 2 incredible singer-songwriters, all of them incredible singer-songwriters in their own right, but also 2 incredible bands. We had Brandon Dowell, who came out of nowhere in terms of like my periphery. Like I only saw him, maybe 6 months ago for the first time at Uncle Fester's, and I heard this guy perform, and I was like, this dude is freaking awesome, man. And I listened to his songs, and I listened to his songwriting, and he's from Columbia, so it's not like he's been anywhere else, but I hadn't heard him until this point, and I heard him sing, and I'm like, dude, this guy has got something. So it was without hesitation that I asked him to come on to the show. Absolutely incredible dude. But anyways, we'll jump into that in just a minute. As you can see, I'm not by myself. We're not in the warehouse anymore. We've already wrapped up the production for our time at the warehouse. Morgan is one of our individuals that has been behind the scenes, helping to run the cameras and do a whole bunch of other stuff with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Morgan Johnson. Say hi, Morgan.
Hello.
Yes, indeed. So I know you guys have heard me say this at the end of a lot of the episodes where I like to thank the crew and the folks and everything like that behind the scenes. And I talk about how like they are also musicians and entertainers in their own rights. Morgan plays with several different bands, and you may have heard of a couple of them. He's with a band called Aim High. Yeah. He is with a band called Sometime in February. Not Somewhere in February. I said that the other day. Just my brain wasn't working right. Sometime in February. He also has played with Stevie Harris, who has been a feature on the show. Stevie Harris and the Crooked Lions. That's the lion out of the Crooked Lions there. And then what else, man? You've got, Hey Johnny Park, Foo Fighters tribute band. You're nonstop. You play with a lot of different musicians, a lot of different acts, a lot of different styles, not just your main instrument, which is I'm gonna say it's a bass. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I can safely say now that like you are a bass player. And you're an incredible bass player, but it is not your only instrument. So I want to do a little interview of you for this one, man. But first, I do want to start by saying thank you so much for all of your time and dedication to this program and all the artists that we've had come through. It is not unappreciated. It is truly appreciated. You guys, you and Baxter coming out and doing your thing and helping out. Even if sometimes it was limited, based off of the size of the artists and stuff that we had, it was always nice to have somebody else there and be a part of this and participate in the hard work of all of this, man. So thank you for that.
No, thank you guys for having me.
But again, let's talk about Morgan for just a second. Tell me a little bit about yourself, man. I know a lot of your stories, and I know a lot of your history at this point, but I don't think the YouTube world out there and the folks that are part of our stream team and all that stuff know who Morgan Johnson is. Probably, I'm sure some do, but like, tell us a little bit about you, man. Same questions that we would normally ask most of our artists. You know how this goes. When did you start playing music, man?
I started playing drums when I was about 5 years old. My brother Eric played in a band called Chasing August around here with a bunch of our friends, and I wanted to be just like him because my oldest brother was he's a lot older than me, so he was off doing his own thing when I was a kid, and so I started playing drums at 5, and then after a while, one of my cousins started playing guitar, and I was like 9. The 9, I picked up the bass for a little bit, and then I saw guitar, and I was like, nope, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like the next Joe Satriani or John Petrucci or something. I'm gonna be a shred king, blah blah. And I got really bored with that. I stopped playing music for a couple of years to pursue martial arts, and it definitely looks like that.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, it's deceptive too because, like, my background, I was in the military for 14 years, and I love the guessing game of how much do you think that I weigh, and then people guess, and they're always the scary thing is they're always like 70 pounds too light on average, and I'm like, no, I'm this much, So if you're thinking here, add 70 to it, it's probably about where it's at. So I mean, muscle weighs a lot more than fat, but like we're sidetracking for that one. So we'll avoid that conversation. I know everybody's got their own feelings and opinions on things when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, so again, like you said, you started playing drums when you were pretty young. You obviously were interested in music from a very young age, but you also you stepped into the martial arts world a little bit, and I know that that gave you some interesting exposure too in terms of other forms of media. This isn't your first time behind a camera either, for sure. So
Oh yeah.
I don't want to dive in any more than you want to dive into it, but tell us a little bit about that. It's always it's kind of an interesting and intriguing story. So.
Oh, I mean, I didn't do too much, but I moved out to California. A lot of my friends in the martial arts world were doing stunt work for movies and television, and I really wanted to kind of follow in that suit. So like after high school, me and one of my best friends, Isaac, we ended up moving to California, and got to work on a Nickelodeon show, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Called the Super Ninjas. My buddy Carlos was on the show, and so we got to do some pretty fun stuff with that. Ended up being a little expensive. Also, getting injured all the time. Realized that there's really no security for me in that. So something I would love to get back into at some point in time in life, but right now I moved back, and that's actually when I picked music back up.
Yeah.
Another one of my best friends, Jeff, that I grew up with, he their bass player ended up leaving their band. This band called Salem Lake, based out of Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
And ended up picking up the spot in bass, and then I just rekindled my love, and I've been a bass player ever since.
Nice. Man, so how long ago is that now for you? How long have you been back since California? How long have you been playing bass in that regard?
2013.
So yeah, almost
9 years.
almost 10 years. Yeah, that's crazy. So I mean, this guy is an absolutely incredible bass player. I wish we could translate that now, but actually, I think we can. You can actually you can go back to at least one episode. Did you play bass on any other stuff?
Tripping. That was season 2. Tripping on Bricks.
Yeah, so we're gonna have those links and stuff like that to the stuff that Morgan's a part of as well. To include, we'll you know what? Hey, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just play a song from that night, and they'll get a chance for it. Well, we always like to add an extra one in here, so we're gonna throw back a little bit to season 2 real quick. Give you guys a chance to check out this incredible band. Man, I'm telling you, if you haven't heard of these guys, you need to be listening out for them. We had them on towards a little over the halfway point of season 2. But we're gonna play a little clip for you of one of their tunes. Ridge Devano and that whole crew, man, Kirk, all those guys, absolutely killer crew. Band Kirk, that's wrong band. That's Opus and the Frequencies, whole nother band. We've had too many on here. There's a huge list. But ladies and gentlemen, just check this out. Tripping on Bricks.
Drowning shallow conversation, all stay high so I don't feel you go. Feel you go. You left and now it's over. Are you afraid or are you just wanted you to run away with me. We'll just pack our bags and sail away from me. But now that thought's a long way gone. You left and now it's all gone. You're all I think about. If you're the one, then how can I move on? I'd move on.
Dude, listen, the first time I heard Ridge sing, I was just like, God, I was blown away, and not just in terms of his songwriting style and his vocals, but like this guy has a lot of different things that, like, when I start working with some musicians, that like I tell them you need, because like getting on stage is getting on stage and performing the music is like 15% of the job. It's an arbitrary percentage, but it's not probably too far off from what it truly is. Like your ability to get on stage and perform, yes, it's a crucial part of being a good musician, but there are so many other pieces that come into it when it comes to, handling your social media, being able to do and understand graphics, being able to understand marketing, reaching out to people, selling yourself, all of these things that come into creating a band. And Ridge is one of those guys that really has a very good understanding of some of that stuff. So I'm super excited to see where these guys go. Even if Tripping on Bricks doesn't stick around, like I think Ridge is in particular, because I've been able to spend a lot more time with him, and I've worked with him over at White Mule back in the day. I know that he's going somewhere, man, and I'm excited to see where that winds up.
They're great guys too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So, okay, we are, again, as we mentioned, this isn't our final episode. We've still got another couple episodes for you, but we are, obviously, as you can see, we're outside. It's daytime, which doesn't make sense because this is airing at 8 p.m., so I want to cover this again, and nobody's really like had any issues with it, but to kind of give you guys an understanding, when we say live sessions, we moved into more of we're gonna get them in the studio and record them live. So what you're hearing is what they sound like. That's what they're gonna sound like when they go to shows. That's what they're gonna sound like when you go see them in concert. These guys are incredible musicians, all of the folks that we've had on. And we've had on some pretty incredible folks. I did a huge list of it the other day, but I mean, even just this season alone, I'm looking at my list right now. Richard Hurto, Opus and the Frequencies, Brooks Herring, Tyler Watson, Lang Owen, Shelby Ray, Hero and the Villains, The Runout, which has Jeff Gregory, Chris Compson, Moses Andrew III, Brandon Dowell, a.k.a. Bombadier, Slim Pickens, Harry and the Hootenannies, Chris Reed, and we also have, closing up this season, we're going to have the incredible Danielle Howe. That was a really awesome time to have her in the studio, and I can't thank her enough for taking time out to come and spend with us. So I'm super excited to be able to share that with you guys here soon as well. So, the last four that we had, Bombadier, again, I think we started talking about him at the beginning of this episode. Brandon, man, again, came out of nowhere for me. I've had a pretty good eye on like all the different types of bands and musicians, and I've watched a lot come and go in the last few years since I started working in the music scene here in Columbia. But you hear certain people, and you're like, okay, there's something there, and then you hear certain people, and you're like, this person's they're going somewhere. There's a few that I'm like, you need nothing from me. You have got this, and I'm excited to see you soar. And we've had a few folks on here that are in that realm of like just you hear them and you hear them talk about their music. Like I said, Ridge is kind of that way with Tripping on Bricks. I feel that. I said that on the last Show Must Go Online, and even on the interview with Shelby Ray. She is now officially in Nashville, I believe, at this point, and we were super excited and lucky to get her on the show before she moved on, because you're going to hear that name soon, I can guarantee you. If you did not watch that episode, or you didn't know who she was before that episode or before us saying it now, just you can put some money on it that's going to be a name you're going to hear soon for sure, on the radio or on TV or something like that. Like I'm certain of it when it comes to Shelby Ray. But then again, a Bombadier, man, Brandon Dow, he's another one, dude. Like just hearing his songwriting and everything like that, and hearing just his vocals, and it just reminds me of something that I can't quite put my finger on. Just a little bit of everything and nostalgia.
Yeah. I'd never met Brandon until that night, but no, that was a phenomenal show. But I agree. There was something there. Like I couldn't quite place my finger on it. But
we even had some moments behind the scenes, and I don't know if it ever comes through or not. But like, I remember like even at a certain point, I'm over there like taking pictures, in order to get the banner stuff and everything. And you're sitting over there switching the cameras, and he ends a number, and both you and Matt just not even like no hesitation at the end of it, like, wow. So, man, how about you? Have you who have you come across? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who have you come across in Columbia? Maybe it's somebody that we should reach out to, but or maybe someone that's been on the show already. Who have you come across in Columbia that you're like, yeah, man, you're at a whole nother level right now. Like, who is your person? And it doesn't have to be anybody that we know, or it could be somebody that's maybe already
honestly,
moved up.
Chris Reed.
Chris Reed.
Chris Reed is
yeah.
one of those guys that.
Oh, wow. No, we've been talking about that one for a while, man. I've known Chris now for a couple years. He came and sat down with Marcus and I at the very beginning of his time back into the music scene, wanting to actually go out and play and do some stuff. And Marcus and him, Marcus did the interview with him, and I think that was very appropriate for Marcus to sit in. If he was going to be able to get in and do any of them this season, which I want to clarify, and we talked about this with Marcus on one of our recap episodes as well, one of our episodes of The Show Must Go Online. Now that everything's kind of opened back up, and musicians are back out and playing, Marcus is playing. So he's giving me kind of the reins on a lot of this stuff, and I really appreciate him letting me continue to keep this show going and keep everything happening while he goes out and pounds pavement and hits all these shows. And I mean, he's playing everywhere, man, like all over Columbia, plenty of shows down in Florida and stuff like that. We've got
everywhere's an understatement.
Once a month he does a week-long residency down at Hard Rock Universal in Orlando, and he's been doing that now since the beginning of the year, basically. Which, I mean, he played down there plenty of times before, but once they kind of got the ball rolling again, he's down there once a month doing that. And then he's got an upcoming band show at Hard Rock in Tampa at the Seminole Casino down there. Seminole Hard Rock Casino. There it is. That's all of it. And we've got some road shows and stuff too. Heck, I mean, we're sitting here in the backyard right now, and he's getting ready to go play a wedding, literally after driving back from Orlando. So that man is always going, and I cannot express it enough. If you have not seen Marcus Gallen out live, you definitely need to go check him out. Again, he is the production behind a lot of this. Everything that you're being able to see right now when it comes to the cameras and the recording equipment and everything like that, that is a lot of almost 90% of that is Marcus. We all contribute where we can, but this man took a lot of time and effort to make sure that we had a good quality production. So I can't thank him enough, which is a tangent in and of itself. But We're going to talk more about Chris Reed later on this episode. For right now, I'd like to kind of jump back into Brandon Dow. I think we've kind of expressed enough to the audience and built enough anticipation for them if they haven't already seen the episode. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, check him out, Bombadier.
I'll kill all the spiders for you. Scream your name until my lungs turn bluer than the sea. You love so much to lay beneath the sun, soaking up those golden rays. I can't stop thinking of those days when you smiled at me and took my hand. God, I miss that white hot sand. You've always stood so tall. You're 5 foot nothing, but you sure can brawl. Always the type of girl to sit back silently, watch me dig a hole in my own stupidity. Riding long boards with cold cup coffee, never on the ball, but still get by. We managed to make it work in spite of everything, like 7 different houses in all our history. Let's take the 10 speed down to King Street. Don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. Skip the stop signs, run the red lights. Keep it on time, keep it on time. If you're hardcore, grab your bullhorns. Go take a ride, go take a ride. Go take a ride. 7 crazy years have walked right by us. We developed our own form of self-reliance. Taught each other things we never knew we needed, about stick and poke tattoos and stolen frozen pizza. It's never easy moving on, especially when you look how far we've come. The memories we made are still inside us. The friends that we found are right beside us. Let's take the 10 speed down to King Street. Don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. Skip the stop signs, run the red lights. Keep it on time, keep it on time. If you're hardcore, grab your bullhorns. Go take a ride, go take a ride. Go take a ride. Sleeping all day, staying up late to go watch the tide. Go watch the tide. Sleeping all day, staying up late. Fixed gear, state of mind. 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 Oh yeah.
Brandon Dow, man. Again, I think this is definitely somebody that's going to go somewhere in terms of their music and the way they write and everything like that. I think he really embodies the folk portion of his styling. I think we identified that he's like multiple genres and everything like that. Folk, pop, punk, indie, everything. But like he definitely brings in the folk portion of it because like I think we were talking about this at one point where like folk music really is kind of like that regional style of music where when you hear things you're describing and talking about something that's very specific to a particular group of people or a region of people that I think you have an understanding of if you're from there or an appreciation of if you're not. And I think Brandon does an incredible job of painting that picture of Charleston, of King Street, of everything. Like when I hear him singing "Fixed Gear State of Mind," which we just listened to, it's I can see it. I picture myself riding the bike. I can taste the salt in the air. I feel all of that stuff that is Charleston, South Carolina when he's talking about that because it really was a love story to Charleston and a longing for something that maybe he's not a part of anymore, but at the same time, when he gets towards the end of that song, he progresses on and like, hey, I'm never gonna lose those memories, man. So I'm gonna keep living my life and keep going strong.
Yeah, he and Lang Owen are probably some of my favorite lyricists when painting pictures. Like they just know what to say and like create just this beautiful piece like in your mind.
They
like,
tell a great story too, because it's like you can relate to it. You think of like Lang Owen and like some of the things like, I mean, the stories are specific, but they're also something that we all experience. Even if we don't know that specific situation, we've been in something similar and we can relate to it. I think of, I know we talk about that song a lot, even though he has a brand new album out, which he played a lot of those songs from, and I recommend going to check that out. We'll have the link in the bio, but like Blue Coat is another one that he, I think, has been kind of his more popular song that a lot of people are familiar with. But again, it's a story that's familiar. And, I talked to him a few months back. I had him out at Uncle Fester's for a songwriter in the round night with Brody and with Jeff Gregory. And, it kind of hit me after a minute. Like after hearing and just listening and watching and observing and just really letting the songs kind of pour into me, I'm like, that's what it is. I said, you need to have an album called Small Talk. I said, because that's what your songs are. And not in like, it's not a derogatory statement or like demeaning. I mean that in like, your songs are conversations. Like I feel like when I'm listening to your song, we're sitting down just like you and I are right now and having a conversation. So it's like these small talk kind of moments. And, Lang talked about that too. Like he said, I listen to people and like I observe and I kind of eavesdrop a little bit. And I feel that because I'm kind of that person where like, if you know me and you get out and you spend some time with me, you'll know that I'll have conversations with you. But the first few times you're around me, I may not. I'm reserved because I'm paying attention. I'm listening, and I'm always listening. So and we're listening to you guys too. So like, if you guys have any comments, thoughts, or concerns, or you think there's somebody that needs to be on this show, or really needs to be heard or preserved in some sort of way, please let us know because that's part of what we're trying to do with this show is to continue to record incredible local and regional artists from all across South Carolina and beyond. So let us know. We've already got some really good plans for season 4. We got a lot of things that are changing. Again, you guys can see we're outside. We're no longer in the warehouse. It's done. We have moved on. It was a great run. It was a good time. I really appreciate Matt, Zach, Joj, all their contributions to it and all the hard work that they did as well. It was a bittersweet moment, man, because we also, you were a part of that last run. We did a marathon worth of recordings for Cola Jazz, man, and that was a day. Man, that was a day. It was a fun day, but it was a long, long day. Just earlier this week, we went in and recorded 5 episodes in a single day, and this is the only place you'll probably ever hear that said out loud. And I don't know if Marc's going to be mad at me for saying it, but I just want to talk about it because it was an experience, and it was a great time. And, again, it's the end of an era.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of an era, too, because, like, Matt and I were saying it, and, like, it hit Marc at the end of the night, and it kind of hit me, like, the next day in particular because, we had some stuff happen where our finale kind of got shifted around, and I'm super excited to have Danielle Howe be our finale artist for this show for this season. But we had some things happen that kind of shifted our finale artist or band around, so we'll have to get them on next season. We're still in that pandemic era, and things happen, and like, hey, no control over it, but. it was bittersweet to wrap things up after like almost 2 years in the warehouse, man. Like we started this show back in 2020, and like we moved into the warehouse right at maybe the beginning or towards the end of 2020.
Yeah.
So and we're halfway through 2022, so I've been in the warehouse about a year and a half. Marc Rapp had been doing Cola Jazz over there for about 2 years by the time we did that last set of recordings. So working with Matt and Zach and stuff like that, and knowing that like we'll be able to work with them in the future, but like at the same time knowing that chapter is kind of closed and we're moving on to something different. Is kind of it's surreal, man. It's surreal to even sit here and kind of have this conversation, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get everybody together to do the entire season 3 rap party recap episode, if you will. So I'll hold off and I'll refrain from a lot more of that conversation, so we've got some more to talk to on that episode. But man, it's been a journey, and it's been really cool to work with all these incredible local artists, local people who are part of the scene as well. I got to give a shout out to Patrick Rutledge and all that stuff too, man. Anyways, we'll save some of that stuff for that final episode, and we'll return to what we were talking about with Brandon Lowther, man. Our next group is somebody I feel like we've talked heavily about Brandon, and we talked a little bit already about Chris Reed, who ends this group of performances today that we're kind of going back and listening to. But Brandon Lowther was on season 2, came in and played solo. Absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed that. I was super excited to have him, and we talked to him back then about, where can we find your recordings? And he hasn't recorded anything yet. So you can find it here. That's where you can find it. If you want to listen to Brandon on his own, that's Branhan, Branhan, Brannon. Not Brandon, not Branham, Brannon. I know. He knows. But if you want to listen to him, you can go back check him out on season 2. He's come out solo. You can also check out his entire band here as well, because as we've discovered, he still has not gotten in the studio to record. And I'm begging him, you need to get in and record this stuff, because I don't want the only thing that they have ever had recorded in the studio as a band to be ours. I'm honored that we've had him on here and we've got Slim Pickens recorded now, at least for the world to see for the foreseeable future. But I really want them to have an album, because I will have that on my playlist for sure, man. Because these guys are incredible. They're called Slim Pickens for a reason, because man, those guys can pick their instruments. And Alex is no not. He is not shy to the electric guitar, but even as a bass player, that man just absolutely kills it, especially because he's coming from that metal background. Yeah, we talked about that on the show. And like we focused a lot on Alex and Steve, because they were the two people that hadn't been interviewed before. Yeah. Like you can go back and check out a full, much longer episode of us interviewing Brandon back on season 2 for our Off the Reel episodes when we were doing it that way. But I really wanted to focus on Alex and Steve and kind of their backgrounds, and they're from all over the place, man. I encourage you to go check out that episode and get a little more background on them. But, man, I really don't know what else to do at this point other than just jump in and let you hear a little bit of Slim Pickens and watch your fingers get tired as you try to mimic them. So check it out.
toss, coming back around, thinking it's time.
Slim Pickens. Man, I just like, my arms get tired, my fingers get tired when I watch these guys move on those instruments, man. They really just know how to make it work, and that styling, I don't know what it is about Brandon's styling. It's something so classic yet so unique and unheard before at the
South
same
Carolina
time.
folk with an edge.
I don't know, man. Like it's so crazy. Like he feels like an artist kind of out of time, you know. And he does. They do a lot of throwback, like underground folksy cover, like bluegrassy kind of stuff that, you know, like maybe songs and artists you've never even heard of. And I really appreciate that too, because like it kind of shines a light on some music that maybe was just got overlooked and stuff like that. So I appreciate that from Brandon. I highly encourage you to go check out the episode. It was a really cool interview with Alex and Steve, and you know, Brandon kind of in the background there. But also, if you want to hear more from Brandon, go back to season 2. Check out Brandon Louther. You can hear a couple more different songs that you didn't get to hear today, or from that time as well. So go check that out. A lot of great tunes, man. Hopefully we'll get some recorded stuff from them soon.
Yeah.
We have been pushing to get them to record something, so like I'm excited to finally to hear something from them. Like we're not recording them, but like we've been pushing to get I want Brandon to get in the studio, man. I want to get that stuff recorded.
Brandon.
Yeah, and speaking of recordings, man, like this next band, they just released a new song, and it's I think it's they did it as a single. It's not their first time in the studio, and they've got some great tunes. And I don't want to go with the classic here. I want to go with their new tune for this one. So I'm excited because you and I have known these guys both of us for quite a while, and they're first off some of the nicest and coolest people to hang around. Harry Braswell is hands down the coolest and just chillest dude that I've ever met, and I just love spending time with him. I loved having him on the show. I'm always begging him to come out, and I'm like, please, please, please. We've even been kind of working together for quite some time. Like when I would need a Sunday off from the open mic over at Fester's, he was my go-to guy for the longest time of like, hey, can you come in and run this? Because there's only so many people I trust that will come in and run and be a good entertainer and be a good host and like really bring things together. And that was Harry. So, which meant that I never got to see him at the open mics because I wasn't there when he would come in. So like it was exceptionally frustrating in that sense. And like I finally got them to come out and do a show over at Uncle Fester's because you know they play a lot. They're all over the place, and Harry's got a couple different projects between Harry and the Hootenannies, which you guys are about to check out. Dead Spring. Yeah, I mean he's got some other stuff, and I mean he also teaches, and you know, and again, yeah, all these different groups and stuff like that, man. And then even Ben, man, Ben Westcott, big old booty slapper. That's his Instagram handle. I'm not trying to be funny. At big old booty slapper. Check him out.
Also
He's
a phenomenal bass player. Oh my god.
Well, it's not just that either. He also plays in a band called 1512 Collective with Liz and who else is in that? Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. Julian Caprino and a couple others, man, and he plays the trumpet. And he is an incredible trumpet player. I mean, this man is multi-talented instrumental, and that's always such a cool thing to see. I don't know if he's ever played trumpet with Harry and the Hootenannies, or if he's ever bringing it into the fold with them, but I've never seen him play it with Harry. But I'm like, I'm just thinking, mandolin and trumpet, that would be an interesting...
At the beginning of the pandemic, Stevie and the Crooked Lions and Harry and the Hootenannies, we did a small little live stream at my house.
Yeah?
And we did a little jam session. He brought it out. And
Nice.
we did some, like, Chrono Trigger covers. Like,
Oh, wow, man.
But,
Chrono Now, let's not get down the rabbit hole of nostalgic video games.
But I haven't. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him pull it out with the Hootenannies.
I don't know why. I'm
trying to
Ben,
remember.
if you're watching this, Harry, if you're watching this, Tickles, if you're watching this, Nick, if you're watching this, correct us if there is a song that you guys do include the trumpet from Ben on, and if there isn't, correct that.
Do it.
Correct yourselves. Get Ben on some trumpet for some stuff. I'm sure you guys have already thought about that, and I'm sure you have had him play the trumpet before. But I would love to see him sitting there with a bass and like pull a slung trumpet off of his bag and just go town. I feel like that's right up the Harry and the Hootenannies name. It's right there in there, man. Just a bunch of Hootenannies, man. Well, it's the hoot and the nanny, as we discovered in the episode. So I'm excited to have those guys on. I was excited to have them on. I'm excited to just anything that I do with them in the future or down the road, I'm always excited for. I'm excited for things that we haven't even planned because they're just such a cool group of dudes to be around and to listen to, and they always put on a hell of a show. So I can't speak highly of it enough. So for this recap episode, I'm going to give you a clip from not the song that we've already shared to our Instagram, but a different song that they played that I really I battled as to which one I was going to post on Instagram and which one I was going to include in this particular episode. So you can go on Instagram and check out the song Raid right now if you don't want to have to pull it up on YouTube and dig through it. Raid. Incredible tune. First off, it's a song about them reading the instructions off of a can of Raid. I don't know how they did it. I don't know why it works, but it's the best thing that I think I've ever heard in my life. But this next one is also right up there, and it's part of their new release. It just came out. Ladies and gentlemen, Harry and the Hootenannies, Got Damage.
Step into his office, lie down on the couch. He'll ask a lot of questions, you won't know what they're about. And as he questions you further, you realize you've been shouting a response. But that's exactly what he wants, and now he's taking his notes. He always seems to be taking notes, but everything he tells you hits a nail on the head. It's like he's reading your mail, it's like he's making your bed. And as you're scratching your noggin, he's scratching his pen across the paper where he's taking his notes. The paper where he's taking his notes. I always wondered what it is that he wrote, but this is what he said, and I quote. You got damage, but it's alright, because no one can tell by the look in your eyes. Listen closely now to your doctor's advice. Just take 2 of these pills and I think you'll be fine. You've got damage, but it's alright, because no one can tell by the look in your eyes. Listen closely now to your doctor's advice. Just take 2 of these pills and you might be alright. I'm Harry. NFTs! Wow! Ha ha! He tells you all is wrong if you've been thinking too hard. He prescribes anti buy the presents and he gives you his card. And as on the way home, go make a stop by your pharmacy and buy yourself a little catharsis. Buy yourself a little catharsis. You can buy the goods that on the market, but your brain ain't quite the place where your heart is. Goddamn it, but it's alright, because no one can tell by the hurt in your eyes. Listen closely now to your doctor's advice. Just take 2 of these pills and I think you'll be fine. You goddamn it, but it's alright. Listen closely now to the doubt in your mind. Just take 2 of these pills and I think I'll be fine. Let's take 2 of these pills and we might be alright. Buy yourself a little catharsis. Buy yourself a little catharsis. Buy yourself a little catharsis. Find yourself.
Hi, I'm Morgan Johnson. This is Greg Sword. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Show Must Go Online. I did that all wrong. I'm Greg Sword. That's
I'm Morgan Johnson.
Wait. Oh, yes. Okay.
Or Moses.
Yeah,
I'm Moses Andrews.
You know, it's funny. We did this same bit at the end of the episode with Harry and the Hootenannies. Listen, you know, sometimes you really enjoy something so much, and you put those extra little touches into things that you know that like a lot of people are not gonna maybe see or they'll miss and everything, and it's really just only for you. And like, there's a moment at the end of this episode with Harry and the Hootenannies where we had so much kind of B-roll during our interview that I took some extra stuff and I put it in between the 2 parts of the outro where it's like, please subscribe, check out our Patreon, which you should check out our Patreon, patreon.com/onthemark studio. That's MARC. Links are below. $5. It's all we're asking. $5 a month. It's not much. It's a cup of coffee, and it goes a long way. It helps to you know, alleviate some fuel costs for some of the guys that are with us and everything like that. So really appreciate it. You know, gas prices are high right now. Maybe it won't be a year from now if you're watching this now, but you know, we'll see. So anything you can do to support this is greatly appreciated. Regardless, we're going to keep this coming to you guys. So just like, subscribe, follow, hit those buttons, share it, all that fun stuff, and everything. But I digress. We need to go back. Harry and the Hootenannies. That end of that episode, man, I included a little piece there where I'm talking to them, and he's like, you know, it's like, I'm Harry, this is Ben, this is Tickles, and they're like talking about how the name came about, and I just leaned in and I said, Harry Benticles, and they lost their minds because they're like, nobody says that. Like, that's something we say in private. You know, like, that's our like inside thing. It's like, how did you know to pull that? And I don't know. It's just one of those things, you hear it and it's like, it just rolled off the tongue. Harry Benticles. Yeah, no, I don't know. Mind links, whatever it might be. Maybe I've got damage. Huh? Because that was the last song that we played, which is out now. Check it out, iTunes, Spotify. It's a really cool music video, too. So I will include the link to that music video below. I was super excited to have them out at Uncle Fester's for the premiere of that video and to do the show out there on Thursday night. We did that, you know, a couple months ago at this point. But absolutely incredible tune, man. Like, there seems to be a theme within certain Harry songs, but not a bad theme, a good theme in terms of expressing some of that damage and some of the issues that we may all face at some point, or somebody somewhere can relate to and not feel as alone. So I really appreciate that about Harry and the guys, man. They're super insightful and thoughtful with their music and the styles, and they're just weird, and I love it. I love it. I can't speak highly of those guys enough. So Harry, Ben, Nick, we love you guys. We can't wait to have you back on in the future too. So and do some more work with you guys. So anyways, we'll move on. We've got let's see, we've done Brandon.
Slim Pickens.
We've done Slim Pickens.
Harry and the Hootenannies.
We've done Harry and the Hootenannies. So this next artist that we have, we already talked about him a little bit early in this episode. So, you said it, man, and I think I've said it too, because like I finally have that realization for myself in terms of like hearing his original music, seeing his work ethic when it comes to getting out and just hitting pavement and getting shows and getting gigs under his belt. This is, I mean, in such a extremely short period of time, this guy has gone from, I just started playing music professionally 2 years ago now, to this last year. I think he said he did over 230 shows.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, that is crazy. I mean, that's upwards of 5 shows a week, almost. Like, I've done the math, like, before, working with Marcus and Brooks Herring and all those guys. Like, that's upwards of 5 shows a week. I mean, like, that's 2 shows a day in some cases. To make up for it.
He's got the sound.
He's
and
got the look.
zing.
He's got the sound, and he's got the pitch. And like he's smart about picking everybody's brain. We had a conversation early on, and like I sat down in the beginning, and I was doing some of like his graphic stuff for him. Like, he pitched me like, hey, I need this graphic done, and I put a graphic together for him, and he paid me to do that and all that stuff. But eventually he's like, hey man, I want to know how to do this. So I tell him the app that I use, I tell him how to do it, and I'm happy to share that information, man. He's gone to town, man. He's got some great photos. He's got some great graphics. He's doing really good on some of his social media stuff. I think there's areas that we all need to continue to grow in, and I don't see that man stopping. It's insane to see how driven he is in this, and like, that like with that level of ethic, going back to something we talked about early on in this episode, performing is 15% of the job, and this man understands that. I mean, he is working his butt off, and rightfully so, and he deserves every accolade that he has coming his way, and all the stuff that he's been working with. I can't speak highly enough of it enough, and I was blown away because, like, honestly, like, this was the first time that I really got to hear some of his original tunes, outside of Chris Reed and the Bad Kids, which you should definitely check them out as well. And there's some tie-in for some of the music, but like to hear some of his songs and the songs that he's written was really moving. I think he's got some great stories to tell. Even with the concept of the Bad Kids itself, I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to in one way or another, whether you're talking about, losing somebody to suicide and everything like that. And I think that's a tragic thing that, like, I don't know if it's more prevalent within the music scene, or if it's just more on the surface within the music scene because of the nature of artists themselves and the way they handle things. But like, you and I, even in the short time that I've been doing this and the time that you've been back, we've lost a few people in relation to that, and one is too many. One is too many. But like, there's been a couple, man. I think back to R3. And that was tough, man. That was really tough, because that was like not the first person in terms of like me working in the scene, but it was the first time it was somebody that I was like working so closely with and spent so much time with, and it's tough. So I do want to take this moment right now and in support of kind of the Chris Reed and the Bad Kids mentality. Know that you're not alone. Know that there are people out there that understand or can at least be there to talk to, or listen to if you're going through something. Reach out to somebody, please do. If you're feeling something and you feel like you're alone or something like that, I promise you're not. We're right here telling you that you're not right now. So please reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. We don't want to lose anybody more, and we don't want to lose you either. So just know that whoever it is that is hearing this right now and you're feeling this, please, reach out. Hell, give me a call. Shoot me a message here. I'll give you my number. I don't care. I think it's important to say that. But moving away from the sadness for a moment and kind of pulling back in to everything else. Chris has obviously been through a lot of things, and the bad kids mentality. Like we talked about this, the reason that he calls them the bad kids is because a lot of those folks were folks that had issues with other things, or had a lot of them that committed suicides because they were a bad kid, or got into drugs because they were into this. And that's kind of where that namesake came from. Like you had all these people that people were calling bad kids, and they really weren't. And he does a really good job of implementing that into his songwriting, but also giving that bluesy kind of rock style to it. I really enjoy talking with him, and him and I have had a lot of conversations about working in the music scene and the music that he's working on and everything. And I'm excited for Chris. I'm also excited to work with him again in the future, and maybe work with him even more going forward. So he's just got an all-around great persona. He checks all the boxes. So I know for me, I had a couple of songs that he played that I really enjoyed. I don't want to put you on the spot and ask you, but like, because I don't know if we know all the titles to them off the top of our heads, but was there a particular? Were you there the night? You weren't there the night that we recorded Chris. We talked about this earlier, but to give you a little insight, if you want to see Chris Reed and the Bad Kids, I don't know when it's coming on air, so I can't give you too much more. But he does have the full band doing Cola Jazz. So there'll be an episode of Cola Jazz coming up. So go check that out when it happens. If I can remember, I'll put the link in here. If not, and you're listening to this, just shoot a message and say, hey, is that link to Chris Reed and the Bad Kids up? Yeah, I don't know yet. But if you want to know, go follow Chris Reed and the Bad Kids on Facebook and Instagram, because you'll get that video when that comes up. I'm certain of it. But was there a particular song or anything like that night that that hit you? I don't know if it's going to be on this episode, but
he did a mashup that was really cool. It was Superstition and
listen. Okay, so we don't have any of those on here, but he did. He was playing around with it before we started recording the night that he came in, and he did one at the very beginning, and it was just like a retelling of a song. So like I know exactly what you're talking about, and if you want to see that or hear that, I do highly recommend go follow Chris Reed and the Bad Kids. He does some really cool medleys of some tunes that I wouldn't have expected to go together, and somehow he makes them work in just this wonderful way, and just kind of gives these classic songs that we're all familiar with they're a new little twist, which is really nice, because you get a lot of folks that when they do a cover, they stay pretty authentic to the original. But like, I like when somebody takes a cover and makes it their own. I like when people find the medleys and stuff, and like, Marcus Gullin is great at that. John Rooks is great at that, and man, Chris Reed is phenomenal at that too. Like, I was like, that first night he was doing what was the first song he did, even on the Cola Jazz one, where it was like I
don't remember the first song. That was like right as I went out to start.
Yeah, no, I know. It'll come to me. And once the Cola Jazz stuff comes up, I'll share it. But unfortunately, we don't do the covers, so we focus on the original tunes. But I know exactly what you're talking about. But listen, go follow him online. 230 shows in a year. Trust me, you're gonna have plenty of opportunities to go see that man live.
That's how I met him, was Uncle Fester's.
Yeah,
he was doing a mashup thing, and I hopped on bass. I started with drums with him, and then I moved over and just started jamming with him on bass.
Yeah, man,
dude. Chris is phenomenal.
Absolutely. So, listen, and you know what? I think we've talked about it enough. Move that out of the camera. I think we've talked about it enough, and everything. At this point, man, I just want to give you some Chris Reed. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Reed.
kids will end up junkies if I kill myself today. So I hold my head up high and greet the crowd who gladly paid. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is whatever you'd like it to be. Now here's some songs I didn't write. I hope you like the way I sing. Too many people love to thank me with free drinks and free cocaine. Should I take another sip or should I blow out all my brains? I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do with all my time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to me attempting to not kill myself tonight. When I need to make that phone call, all my friends are dead asleep. So I confide in drunken barstool maids with lipstick on their teeth, taking in riddles laced with empathy and love to fill my head. You know, I know they just want to replace the husbands in their beds. So if you want me to be honest, I'm doing well. And how are you? Life is grand and mom and dad are proud of all the things I do. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this isn't what you paid to see, but I'm alone tonight and therapy costs more than I can make in 1 week. My kids will end up junkies if I kill myself today. So I hold my head up high and greet the crowd who gladly paid. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this isn't what you pay to see. Now here's some songs I wrote to cope. I hope you like my melody. And there's just one thing that I'll leave you with, and I'll close the show tonight. You've been such a lovely audience, and I didn't mean to frighten you. Now please go out, enjoy yourselves. Remember this advice. Ladies and gentlemen, check on your friends and make sure they're all right tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, check on your friends and make sure they're all right tonight.
Chris Reed, Harry and the Hootenannies,
Slim Pickens.
Brandon Dowell, Bombadier. I mean, like, listen, all of these guys, absolutely phenomenal. Go back for the rest of the season. We've had some incredible folks. Season 2, we've had some incredible folks. Starting from the very beginning, please go check it out. Explore the page. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're feeling generous, please go visit our Patreon, patreon.com/OnTheMarchStudio. Morgan, thank you so much for coming out here and sweating in the middle of the day. I mean, at 8 o'clock at night.
Summer, baby.
Summer, baby. It's summertime. We've got another couple episodes for you, so please check out Ending the Season with the incredible Danielle Howe. Please check that out. That's coming up very soon. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you'll know when those videos get uploaded. You'll be like, I can tune in and watch that premiere tonight. It's awesome. We like to see those high numbers when we get those premieres. So please tune in, check us out. Check out all these artists. I will have all their social medias and stuff like that linked below. We'll have Morgan's stuff linked below. Please check out his art as well and the bands that he's a part of. Morgan, thank you so much for all your help, man, with this past season and everything you've done as well. Thank you for coming and sweating with me, even though I told him to be here at 9 o'clock and it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon as we record this. So I'm not saying I blame you, but I love you.
We were working late last night.
Here, there you go. Anyways, you know what? If you're watching this and it's 8 o'clock, guess what? Probably right now the sun is still up, so it's not too far of an exaggeration. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for checking us out. Again, like, subscribe, find all these artists, and make sure you stay tuned for season 4. We've got a lot of great things coming for you. We'll have some little pop-ups in between. We'll talk to you guys, kind of give you some background of what's happening, where you can find us at, and maybe how you can actually come out and enjoy the entertainment and the music while it's being recorded. I want to say that now because at this point I'm going for it. We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna kind of open up the session a little bit to be able to let some folks come in and sit in and be a part of it if they want to come watch these incredible performers. Because we've got some great folks coming up for you on season 4. I did a lot of work to reach out and find somebody for the end of this season, which means that I got a lot of people lined up for season 4. So please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you find us on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, all of that stuff. Thank you to Matt Buck. Thank you to Joe J. Thank you to Zach Zaba for all of the stuff that you guys do over at the Warehouse crew. Warehouse Live, man. It was an incredible journey, and I was super excited to have you guys. And we'll have you guys be a part of that team and to be a part of your team as well. So we'll talk more about that in the recap episode of season 3, and kind of just go back on some of that stuff. Maybe we'll try and get Matt on that one. I've been trying to get him behind the camera, so we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in. We've got Danielle Howe coming up. We've got some recap episodes, so we've got some more stuff happening still this season. But we're coming to a close, man. Morgan, it's been an incredible chapter, man, and I'm looking forward to doing more with you on season 4 and everything else, and continuing to work with you and just continuing to have you as a friend, man. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. Have a great night.